Hey, hi everybody, welcome. We're talking about persecution. According to Matthew 5, it's one of those things that we as Christians are going to be receiving from time to time. I don't want to make it sound like it's all the time, because it's not. But there are times in our lives where we have to go against the flow. There's times in lives where we swimming upstream. There's times when we have to deal with people who don't understand us. You know, when Jesus was on the cross and he said, Father, forgive them, they just don't understand. They don't know what they're doing. And I suppose, too, a measure of compassion goes to the world in a stranger sort of way, that I feel sorry for those who persecute, because Jesus was right. They just don't understand. And I guess, too, when Stephen was being stoned and he pleaded the same prayer and he said, Lord, forgive these people, they just don't get it. They just don't understand. And this lack of understanding is very uncomfortable for us from time to time. I want to talk particularly right now in the context of business people. You know, yesterday we spoke about persecution in the context of our young people and the cyberspace that they find themselves in. I hope that's the right word. The social media is so powerful and is so influential in their lives. And I know we can't fix it, but they can learn how to manage it, I'm sure, as can we. But for our business people today, my heart goes out to you, because in the business world there is a measure of political kind of persecution that takes place if you don't do business the way that they do. If you don't do the shady deals or won't be a part of the stuff that they're up to, then you're sort of alienated. I don't know if you found that. If you want to not be persecuted, just go with the flow and do what they do. Then you'll never be persecuted again. But the business principles that God says that we should live by are principles that the world does not understand. Well, academically they understand them, but in their heart they say, why would we want to do that? We can rip off the taxpayer, we can rip off our clients, we can charge more than we want to, we can share, we can do things that are unethical in many ways. And the crazy thing is, we can justify it. We can stand there, we can say we do it like this because they've done that to us. Well, I'm not sure that that's a good stance for us as business people to be able to stand on. But business people persecuting business people is a crazy thing, where we badmouth one another's companies. That's the worst form. We tell them bad information about the guy down the road in the hopes that maybe I'll get the job. God looks at this and he's saying, ooh, this is so cool, man. Why don't you rather just trust me for the business rather than bringing other people lower so that you look like you're higher? Don't do that. And I guess in a sense that this people say, well, Trevor, you don't live in the business world like we do. Yeah, I guess you're right. But I see the pain and the suffering of business people who have suffered under the persecution of other business people. It's nothing new. When people became believers back in the first century, and many of them lost their jobs. Many of them lost their lives, but many of them lost their livelihood of the way that they were doing things. There was a man called Tertullian who was a wonderful man, used of God, and he had a guy come to him one day, and this guy was speaking to Tertullian, and Tertullian says, how's business going? He says, man, it's tough. I really got to bend the rules a little bit, because I need to eat, and I need to feed my family, and I need to be able to pay my bills, and I need to have a life. And Tertullian looked at him and said, do you? What he was saying there was an extreme version of saying, don't you know that God is your provider, not the people around you? Don't you know what people say about you and your business doesn't really matter, as long as God thinks that it's awesome? Live out your biblical business principles. Live out the wonder of generosity. I don't know, we were talking to some people the other day, and it's amazing how generosity leads to God's blessing in the greatest forms. When we're kind to one another, we support one another. And I just think people in church, this is a great opportunity for us as the body of Christ to support one another, not just in prayer, but in business as well. To support our business people within the business of church. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's a great thing to do. So business people are supported by business people in the church. Please do me a favor, do a good job. So that when people in the church support you because you're in the church and they love you and you're part of the family of God, don't let them down. Don't go and do a shoddy job, something that they're going to say, well, that's the last time I'm going to support that guy, even though we're Christians. He did a bad job. Please do a good job. Please do an ethical job. And be grateful for the support that you get from people within the family. Family. Support family. Family within the family of God should be supporting one another. And I know that sometimes it's hard. I know sometimes there's challenges out there. I'm not making it less than it is. I see you guys battling in the business place. I see you competing for contracts. When you compete fairly, do a good job. And if you're being persecuted because you're doing a bad job, that's not God's fault. But when you're being persecuted because you're a believer, that's another thing. Let's support one another. Let's encourage one another. Let's get into sharing contracts with one another. I don't know. You guys will know what to do. And I hope and pray that the persecution that you feel and experience from without will be more than compensated by the love and the kindness that happens within the body. I pray for you guys. You wouldn't want to employ me. I wouldn't be any use to you at all. You'd fire me within an hour because I'm not a very good business person. But I do see the pain of you in the persecution that you receive, and it's real. It's real. But don't give up. Don't go with the flow. Don't lower your standards to meet the standards of those around you and think, well, everybody's doing it. Trevor, it's a dog-eat-dog world out there. It's one guy stand on another guy to be able to achieve the things he wants to achieve. Don't fall for that. Don't fall for it. Ethical business is God's business. When you do God's business and seek first His kingdom, you know what, people? All these things will get added to you. I'm glad I didn't say that, because that's what Jesus said. He will not let you down. He will not. I hope you find that to be true. Have a great day. Bye-bye.